Hey folks, the Comics Kid 2099 here to once again talk about an episode of a superhero animated series. Today I'll be talking about the new Batman Adventures episode, Animal Acts. If you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, go watch it before you finish this video. Or if you don't mind spoilers, stick around as I quickly sum up the plot of the episode before I get into the review itself. Either way, you've been warned. Nightwing, Batman, and Robin encounter a gorilla stealing a circuit board. Nightwing recognizes the gorilla from the circus he grew up in, and Batman suspects Nightwing's childhood friend is responsible for sending the gorilla into a life of crime. Later, Batman and Nightwing fight some bears who we now find out are being mind-controlled by the Mad Hatter, who has infiltrated the circus as a clown. Nightwing and Batman stop the Hatter, and everyone is happy. Cue credits. So this episode returns to the old mystery formula, which we haven't seen in a while. I've mentioned before how Paul Dini never did care for the mystery episodes, because in such a short amount of time, you don't have enough time to spend seeding enough red herrings to string the audience along. You can introduce two characters, one that the episode will try hard to make you think is guilty, which in this case is Dick's childhood friend, the animal trainer. And then since it won't be that person, it has to be the other person, in this case the Mad Hatter. So to paraphrase Dini, it's never much of a mystery who the villain is, because it's whoever the episode is not trying to make you think the bad guy is. Now I'll go ahead and say, while what Dini says is true most of the time, in this case I had no idea who the bad guy was until about 1 second before we heard Mad Hatter's voice. This is probably because the silent clown who turns out to be Mad Hatter has about as much screen time as some of the other carnies that recognize Dick as he's coming to visit the circus. I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a cheat to turn around and say that that's the Mad Hatter without giving us a little bit more of a hint. But on the other hand, I have no idea how you would do the exposition that reminds audiences about Tetch and his mind control technology without making it too obvious that he's going to be the bad guy of the episode. It's a very small tightrope to walk, so I guess I can forgive this episode for failing a little bit right there. This episode continues a thread that is front and center in the relationship between Batman and Nightwing in the comics and has been the focus of an episode in this season already, You Scratch My Back. That thread is just how strained things are between Bruce and Dick. Bruce is a control freak who needs things done his way or no way at all, and Dick is growing up and exploring who he wants to be as a person, and that means doing things different from how Bruce does things so he can find out who he wants to be. Like I said, this is all very much an ongoing thing between Dick and Bruce in the comics. I've seen more than a few instances where they seemingly kiss and make up, but then the next time that they're on screen together, they're back to being grimacy and barely speaking to each other at all. So even though this is basically exactly like it's handled in the comics, it's still a little strange to see this be so prominently featured in this episode and then not have any resolution for this story at this point in this episode. Maybe instead of shoehorning Tim into this episode so that he can do nothing at all, you could have spent the last couple of minutes of this episode having Bruce and Dick apologize for being so alpha male with each other. Sure, I hate this version of Tim Drake, so seeing him be forced to shovel animal feces is just a delight, but it does get in the way for what feels like a missing scene between the two real stars of this episode. And speaking of missed opportunities, how about that scene with Dick and his childhood friend feeling like they're leading to some kind of confrontation between these two, and then nothing at all. When Dick and Tim first visit the gorilla after the initial fight, she is really catty with her "some of us have work to do" thing. Like, because Dick got adopted by some rich guy, he thinks that he's better than the lowly circus people or something like that. I expected some kind of resolution to that, but no, nothing there either. In fact, other than that scene, this character isn't really much of a character at all. She has no real character traits other than grouchiness. She's more of a plot device to distract us from the real threat than anything else. I know I already suggested getting rid of Tim Drake to flesh out the Batman Nightwing melodrama, but maybe we could have trimmed down the fight scene a little bit at the end of the episode so that Dick and this girl could resolve their issues. This would have gone a long way to make her feel more like an actual person and less like a plot device, in my humble opinion. So those are my thoughts on this episode. I didn't really hate it, not like I did Fire from Olympus or Cult of the Cat, but the more I talked about it, the more I discovered that there just wasn't very much here to like. I did like getting to see Dick return to his roots, but I don't think that was enough to cancel out all of the bad stuff that I did not like about this one. So that's what I thought. What about you guys? Like it? Hate it? And what'd you think of my review? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you did like this video, I'll be doing a similar video for another episode of this series next week. And if you did like this video, check out my other videos I do throughout the week if you're interested. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.